Hey folks, how are you today? It's a cold, cold day here in January, and you'll never guess where I am. I'm in my garage. And that always, when you talk about being in your garage, has something special for us, because that means I only know one other person that records stuff in their garage. So I thought, since I was in my garage, that I should invite somebody to join me in my garage. So I'm going to invite a friend to join me in my garage that knows a whole lot more about garages than I do. So Jerry, welcome to Dale's garage.
I'm in Dale's garage. Your garage is a little bit neater than mine.
It didn't have writing on the wall.
You've got painted walls though.
I
don't have painted walls. Well, I do have like 3 different colors of paint.
Yeah, I saw it last night. You had all kinds of stuff. Well, so what are we doing in my garage on a cold Tuesday afternoon?
Well, it's January the 19th. It's about 20 below zero.
27 according to
27 year watch. It's cold, and there's an anticipation for some really, really bad weather coming from the north all the way down, even into our area.
So about a year ago, we had a night kind of like this on Wednesday evening. It was looking like snow and everything. And our elders said, we're going to cancel services, and then they suggested that you and I do a kind of a devotional type video that folks could watch with their family and everything. And we did that, and we did it for Spring Meadows. But what we're surprised at is there were several hundred, in fact I think a couple of thousand folks that watched that video, because their services were also canceled. And so a few months ago that happened again, but it wasn't snow, it was tornadoes and stuff like that. And so we did another one. And that night we ended up not canceling our services, but still several folks ended up watching, being useful to them. And this may or may not be useful to you. If it's not, just you can hit that little button, pause or delete or go forward.
Don't do that. You'll want to watch this.
What, we're going to use watermelon?
We're not doing watermelons tonight. But they're going to want to listen to what we have to say.
So if your services were canceled, or you're not able to make it out tonight, these are some devotional thoughts for you. You might gather your family around, or if you're just by yourself, you might enjoy this by yourself. But we hope it's useful to you and uplifting to you and beneficial to you and a blessing to you, and you might know others that you want to share it with. And we'd invite you to feel free to share it with you. Now, we've used that word share, we've talked about watching it and everything, so in all likelihood, if someone is watching this, through what vehicle are they watching it?
They're going to watch it probably through social media.
Through some sort of social media, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook.
Now, not so much on Instagram, because Instagram's just like pictures with 15-second clips, unless we took a 15-second clip.
Or Vine, a little Divine.
Boom. Not Divine, that's fine.
I didn't say Divine.
You said Divine.
But it's like boom, it's over.
Boom, it's over.
It's time.
Yeah, go with God. Boom, that's it.
Short devotion.
Short devotion.
So what I thought would be kind of good, we were talking about what we talk about that might be useful to people, and we started, I think it'd be good for us to talk some about the Christian's use of social media, because Jerry, if there is a like button on Facebook, and there's a heart in Twitter and Instagram, but I'd like an unheart and an unlike button sometimes, because I sometimes see Christians do some things on Facebook and other social media that really are very, very bad. And so I was writing about this, Jerry, a couple of weeks ago after we'd had a discussion about it, and I was looking for a verse, and somebody will say that's eisegesis and exegesis. Well, frankly, I was. You know, what would we do with the scriptures with this? And I did a search, and I found this amazing thing. Did you know that the Apostle Paul was all about social media?
What? That's what everybody's going to say.
You know what his Twitter account was?
Sure. What was his Twitter account?
Yeah, what was his Twitter account?
What do you think it was?
Well, you told me earlier.
Oh, blinded by the light.
Blinded by the light.
Blinded by the light.
Instagram.
Instagram's blinded by the light.
I thought Twitter.
His Twitter. I am Paul.
I am Paul. His Gmail account is I am, capitalized A-M, an apostle. Because people always accuse him of not being an apostle, so I am an apostle. So his Facebook account just Paul. The Apostle Paul.
The Apostle Paul.
The Apostle Paul. All capitals in the But in reality, Paul did not have a social media account, but God, through the Spirit, anticipated everything that we will face. And while it's not direct, indirectly. And so oddly enough, and so thinking about this verse, I thought about that great verse over in Ephesians chapter 4, chapter 4, verse 29,
Yeah.
where it says, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, and only that which is good for the use of edifying, that it may minister or give grace to those who hear. And basically it said, be very careful what you say. And I was trying to remember that verse. I went to Bible Gateway and I searched for speak, because I didn't think of communication. I was thinking about another translation, the word speak there. And I noticed something really, really, really neat, Jerry. I was amazed by this.
Which fine.
5 times that are pertinent to us in this study, the Apostle Paul uses the word speak in the book of Ephesians.
Wow.
And all 5 of them can apply, maybe not directly, but at least indirectly, to social media and its use today. So let's talk about what Paul would say about social media today, or what the Apostle Paul says that applies to social media today.
Okay.
So I'll let you get us started.
All right. Well, when you start looking at the whole concept of it, just that in chapter 5, verse 12. Chapter 5, verse 12, he says...
So get your Bible out, or open up your new version, and you'll go on with these verses with us.
Right. He says, for it's a shame even to speak, there's that word, there's the word speak, of those things which are done of them in secret.
Okay. So how in the world could we... Now, I don't want to rest the scripture anyway, but let's try to make this apply in some way. My first thought when I read that was, when you're posting, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, whatever your social media desire is, don't post something that you wouldn't want your grandma that you so revere and love and would not want to embarrass, or your preacher or your youth minister or your future boss, or more especially God to see. Because none of those other folks may see it, but God will see it. And
God knows even the intent of things that are behind those things.
Yeah. So when you're posting, don't post everything, every thought you have, every feeling you have. Some people tend to do that, and it's like you're oversharing.
Right. There's a media that's out there now. It's called Periscope, and of course
how did I know you would bring Periscope?
I have to bring Periscope into this. Even during that live broadcast that I might do at the garage or someplace like that, there's a place that a person can reply their thoughts and their actions. Many times when I'm doing something that's spiritual based or in that manner, we'll get a great reply, no kidding or anything like that. But every now and then, someone will be out there and they will put something out there that's foul, very inappropriate, and the only thing you know to do is to try to either block that person, because you don't want everybody else to see the bad stuff that person wants to do. But what it is, when that person posts that themselves, they're just showing what their heart and the intention of their heart is.
Mm-hmm. So watch what you post. Pictures that you post. I mean, if it's a picture you wouldn't want God to see you in, don't post it.
Right. If
it's a comment that you think God would be ashamed of having His name associated with, don't post it. Okay, number 2, second verse that we'll look at in Ephesians 4:15, maybe the most famous of all these verses. It starts off, but speaking the truth in love. Now, Jerry, how does that apply to social media?
Oh, wow. When people are replying to comments and stuff like that, how many times have you seen drama brought into a situation, or the fact that you see, they'll say, well, I don't like so-and-so, and it really becomes a gossip line, which gossip is sin, right? Or it becomes something that's detrimental to the tearing down of an individual instead of building up. And so if you're going to talk to someone and you need to speak to them in the truth of things, don't do it with spite, don't do it with anger. But do it to them with the genuineness and honesty of your heart.
I'm going to say something now that I think there's not a person out there that would disagree with. There's enough drama in social media already. And it's just crazy the amount of drama. So, like political posts. I know there's some cute ones out there. I've seen some of them. I've chuckled with you. But the fact is, a political post has never changed anybody's view on politics. And the reality is, it may do more harm in your influence of changing someone who sees something different than you than it would do any help. And so be aware of that and be careful what you post. Downplay the drama. I mean, why don't you post something that's uplifting, that's encouraging, that's positive, something that builds up now. And post something like that now and then instead of always having to post something. And somebody says, well, I spoke the truth and I spoke it in love. Well, I've seen people say that, and you knew, maybe they spoke truth, but they didn't speak it in love. Sometimes, and I'm not sure I can prove this, but I think there's a degree to which you earn the right to speak the truth in love to someone. If I walk up to a stranger on the street and I say, listen, you're living this way and you're going to hell for it, I'm probably not going to influence that person at all. They don't know the love I have. They don't know me. But there are certain people, if I came to you as a friend and said, Jerry, listen, I've seen this in your life, and you're going to be lost if you don't change this. I think you take it from me in a way that would be different than, well, I can't believe you said that to me, because you know how I feel about you. You know, okay. So make sure that people know the compassion you have for them before you go commenting on their post when you barely know them. They're your friend on Facebook, but that's the only way they're your friend. They're a Facebook friend. They're not a true friend. So, you know.
Yeah, make sure you know the person before you make your comment. I mean, and two, you got to remember that other people on the outside are reading your comments to that individual. They don't know, so you may be speaking something very, very truthful. Really, the best thing is don't place a comment on that Facebook wall, on that Instagram, on that Snapchat that you wouldn't say to them face to face.
That's good. Okay. All right. Third verse.
All right. Let all bitterness, let all bitterness, wrath, and anger, and clamor, and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice.
So somebody should screenshot that verse and put it as their status photo, right?
Absolutely.
Because that covers about everything. Bitterness, wrath, anger, clamor, evil speaking. I mean, all of it be put away from them.
And he says, don't do it.
Yeah.
That's kind of simple enough in its way. But that's not what I see.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much anger out there in the media, and it feeds on itself. Someone makes a comment and you see it and you think that's wrong and you respond back, and it becomes evil speaking if you're not careful. So, and along with that, I'd say we need to say something here about being passive aggressive. I've been accused of it. Anybody who posts much is accused of it, and it's easy to become that without meaning to be. But avoid being passively aggressive. Avoid saying things in an underhanded manner, hoping you'll get a response in a certain way. I just say, watch out for that sort of thing.
I think sometimes that when we start looking at this whole concept, it's not this is a display of your character. This is a display of the person who you are inside. And when you display that type of character, that you're always angry, you're always mad,
bitter.
You're bitter.
That word, bitter.
That bitter is heavy. That's there. When someone meets you out in public for the first time, they're going to know who you are. And social media is social. It's not private.
No, but that's important to know. Yeah,
it's not a closed group. It's not.
So if I like something, if I like a picture that I see or a post that you see, everybody who is my friend will see what I liked as well.
Yes.
Some people don't think, for some reason, don't seem to realize that. And I've seen people who take a false teaching and they'll like that false teaching maybe because they feel sorry for the person, or they want to encourage the person in some way. They post that, I need to like it. Well, be aware. Everybody that's your friend sees that, and they, he believes that, or they're endorsing that, or that lifestyle, or that picture, or that. Oh man, watch it.
Yeah, you've got to really be careful. Well, all right. So there's some of those negative things. So what's a positive thing?
Okay, still Paul talking, Ephesians 5:19. That's a verse we use for one thing, but listen to it again. It's speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord. And when I read that and thinking along these lines, my first thought was just really kind of a neat one, I think, and that was that we ought to say things every once in a while on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on whatever other media you're in out there. Say something that is encouraging. Speak something positive. Remember to say something that uplifts and builds up, and that makes somebody's day better. There's enough out there making our day worse. Give praise to God. Give glory to Him. Honor His church. Honor another member of His family. Encourage someone. And I even wrote down, as I was thinking about this, one of the things we can do, I think, through Facebook is watch for people who are hurting.
Oh, how many times do you go, and I've been this way too, and I think you have too. We make a post about something that's in our life, and I'm just going to go ahead and bring this up. You and I both lost our dads.
Yeah.
And I know I write a lot about my dad, and I know you write a lot about your dad because our dads were special to us. But how much help do you get from the others? The encouragement that they get when they send you a passage, they tag something onto it, they tell you that they love you, and you know they're praying for you, and the things that are good there. Now I'll take just a second on this one. 5 years ago today, this is the 19th, Dad passed away. I still go back to my Facebook account, and I go on that little timeline, and I go back to January 19th, 2001, and I read everything people wrote me there.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's uplifting. It's inspiring. It's helpful. I'm not in it for a pity party. I'm down enough as it is.
Paul talked about how he was encouraged by other people, and so there's nothing unspiritual about needing to be encouraged by other people. I think every Christian needs encouragement. I think if somebody says I don't need encouragement, frankly I think they're lying. Everybody needs encouragement, and Dad used to preach a sermon called "Every Christian has what every Christian needs." I have encouragement, and every Christian needs it. I should give it and try to give it. And another little thing kind of along these same lines, when you're talking about that sort of thing, when you say you're going to pray for somebody, pray for them. I mean, we were driving down the road a few minutes ago and called somebody, I don't remember who we called now, but at the end, it's a friend of ours interviewing for a job today. And I said, we'll pray for you during that interview. And we hung up, and I'm driving. I said, Jerry, lead the prayer. I'll keep my eyes open. That's a good idea. But pray then, and then let them know you pray for them.
If you say you're going to do something, do it.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
All right, we got 2 more verses, but we may not have time for it. We're running out of time here. This little devotional is turning into a longer devotional. Right. So this one's Ephesians 6:21. It's a great verse. Paul says, speaking of Christ, "For which I am an ambassador in bonds, that therein I may speak boldly as I ought to speak." So Paul was concerned about speaking, even who is in prison, the way I ought to speak. And if he was an ambassador even in prison, when we go out in this world, we go to our place of work, we go to school, we're on social media, we are representing another. We're an ambassador for Christ. And so when you're posting, remember who you represent.
You've got to be willing to be the light that Jesus calls us to be. Jesus said that you are the light of the world, and you need to be that light so people can see your good works.
We used to have a youth minister, and I mean, you may have done this as well, but years ago in a church I worked with, and the last thing he'd tell the kids, anytime before he let them off the bus, off the van, he'd say, remember who you belong to.
That's right.
And I thought, what a great idea. And that's something that every one of us needs to remember. Remember who you belong to. Go ahead and give that last one.
The last one is from chapter 4, verse 29. "Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good, to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers."
So everybody that hears us, we have a responsibility to minister, to serve grace on a platter to them. That's the imagery that's given them.
Exactly
We're serving grace up to them by our words. And so with what you post, with what you like, years ago, I mean this has been 6-7 years ago, I liked a post I saw somewhere and I forwarded it to my father-in-law, Brother Roman, the most godly man I know. I forwarded it to him, and at the very end, the very last line, I didn't read it all the way, the very last line, it had a word in it that I would not use. And I was reading, I forwarded it as I was reading because it's so good, and I got to the bottom, I thought, oh no, I just forwarded that to my father-in-law. I'm in big time trouble there. And I learned a valuable lesson then that I've tried to keep in mind, that when that as an ambassador and as someone who is not letting any corrupt communication proceed out of my mouth, but only what is good for the use of edifying, I have to remember when I'm posting, that's communication.
Right.
When I like something, I'm communicating something. So that's a good overall view. In fact, that may be the best of all these verses when it comes to social media that we ought to remember. So that's what I am the Apostle Paul at gmail.com would say to folks today.
Yeah, that's right. One of the things in this whole concept of social media is it is a reflection of who you are. It is who you are. Now, someone says, well, that's not really who I am. If it's not who you really are, then you're lying about yourself.
One way or another.
One way or the other. You're lying one side or the other. You're still lying about it. So, you know, Paul gives these great things of telling who you are. You gave some great examples on that. When we're posting, watch who something is from when you repost it. Especially these guys that do Twitter accounts and they repost a Twitter thing. The title line, a lot of times you'll say, oh man, this phrase is great, maybe a fantastic phrase, but the source that it came from may be bad.
And I mean, we can't follow every source and know everything, but if it's a source that you would not want to be endorsing, at least include in, I don't endorse everything this guy says. Let people know that. That should be a given, I guess.
Or just copy that phrase out.
Yeah.
And say, I found and attribute it. Yeah, just don't. Yeah.
Thank you for listening tonight. I hope you've had a good afternoon, and I hope you stay warm. I hope you are warm. If we can help anyway, let us know. And if you have any questions,
they can follow you on Facebook.
Or not.
Or not. They follow you on Twitter.
Yeah. If they don't follow us on Facebook and Twitter, they probably
not watching this.
So, you know, be sure what? No.
Yes.
Thank you again, and God bless you. We hope you have a great evening.